for giving me this opportunity to meet with you and interact. I consider it as a great privilege. The topic I have been given today is basically a vast topic, and the time is around 30 minutes. So I'll try to cover as best as I can, but it will be very, very concise. The topic is IMU cadets and engineering students who will be entering the maritime industry. That is the audience. The topic may cover maritime career in general, shipbuilding industry, sharing industrial experience on coming over adverse or uncertain situations, the future of Indian shipbuilding industry. So let me start. Basically, I think I need no introduction to all of you because you must have already Googled or researched on my background. So I started off as a mechanical engineer. I graduated in 1968 at a time when there were 60,000 engineers were unemployed. So I really had to look for alternative opportunities to be employed. And one of the sectors that I looked into is shipping, because in 1968 India was acquiring ships, but we were short of seagoing people, and the DMET and that was training marine engineers could not cope with the requirement. So the government made law or rule saying that mechanical and electrical engineers from recognized organizations can qualify to go to sea, provided they go through an accredited apprenticeship program for 1 year, and then they could go on board as a trainee marine engineer, and thereafter they can work their way up. So I chose that, and I became a trainee marine engineer of Shipping Corporation of India, and at Garden Reach workshops in Calcutta at that time. But after 7 months of training, I was actually sent out on a ship because of shortage of people. So I started my career with the SCI, and I worked up until second engineer pretty fast. When I always had a passion for design, and also when I was working on the ship, I found that the ships could be designed better because people who have designed have appears to have not operating experience. So that was the motive. So when I passed my second engineer's examination within 1 month of getting off the ship, which I got off after 19 months, and 18 months being the minimum sea service that is required, I surrendered 6 months of my leave and offered to work as a fifth engineer, although I was certified second class engineer, provided the company sent me to a shipyard where a modern then automated ship under construction, so that I can pick up the future ships technology, which is automation. So I decided to surrender that 6 months, but unfortunately they promised me everything, but I sat at home for 6 months and nothing happened. So then and there I decided that my future is not with Shipping Corporation of India, and I started applying to various companies, very clearly giving my requirement that I was willing to work as a fifth engineer, though qualified to be a second engineer, provided they post me in a shipyard where a new ship is under construction, a modern new ship is under construction. So this company I worked for had a ship owning and ship management arm. So they picked me up and offered me a position as third engineer and sent me to Japan, where a ship was under construction. That was the turning point in my life, because the company was also owned by the ship design company, GTR Campbell, and I happened to meet the legendary figure, a naval architect and ship designer, GTR Campbell. And I sailed on the ship, and then I had an opportunity to meet with Mr. Campbell, and without really knowing who he is, I started telling about design modifications and design improvements that can be done. So he decided that I continue in the company, and that is a short story. So I joined the company in 1972. I became the president of JTR Campbell Japan in 1986 or something like that, when I was 40 or 42. Then I became the president of JTR Campbell International. He stepped down for me in 1989. And 1993, he passed away. And since then, I've taken over the company, and I'm running the company. So that's a little background of me. So to me, from my personal experience, there is nothing like a seagoing career. Seagoing career gives you a lot of opportunities to grow, to get a first-hand experience, to be in charge of a multi-million dollar project, which normally in the shore there will be hundreds of engineers manning them. So it matures you very fast. It makes you a man or a woman out of you, and I think it all depends on you, how you learn and what you want to learn. And if you are a bit careful, within about 10 years time, I think you will probably be in a position of a captain or a chief engineer. And if you're working for a foreign flag vessel, then you would have made some quite a bit of money. So maybe at the age of 35, you probably will be having a bank balance of $500,000 or prudently invested. And then you can come out and make a decision what you want to do. You can go for higher studies. That is one track where you can take naval architecture, engineering, marine engineering, electrical engineering, or in the engineering field. Or you can diversify, go into management, finance, law, logistics, you name it. So a sea career is a very versatile and useful career to make a nice saving before you come out of sea, as well as at a prime age, you can enter into any different industry. So sky is the limit. It all depends on your imagination, how you do it. I would suggest the university, the alumni, and the students form a cell to create resources where you can actually find that how the higher studies can be done, in what stream it can be done, where it is available, and things like that. So that while you are in the university, you can plan your career. Life is all about proactive planning, and setting goals. And the other turning point in my life was I came across a book called Psycho-Cybernetics, written by a plastic surgeon in 1962, to find out why and his patients are happy and some patients are not happy. And he started investigating, and he came up with Psycho-Cybernetics. The simple translation is automatic goal-seeking mechanism. So if you set realistic goals, you automatically reach there. I practiced that. So at every stage in my life, I put goals, and I could easily achieve it even before the time passed. So making a realistic goal and trying to work towards it is one way of achieving your dreams. So career-wise, it's beautiful. It's very hard, very tough, very demanding. But once you have made the decision, you can try and enjoy it. And so as far as sea career, I would limit that to that one. But I can definitely answer any questions if anyone has on that one. Then because my love is for ship design, then I turned in after I became chief engineer in 1975. Incidentally, I did my first class in UK. Actually, I wasn't planning to do my chiefs. I was going ashore to take a land-based job because of multiple reasons, that I wanted to stay with my family, with my children. Those days, I would not get a shore job unless I had been a chief engineer for 10 years. by the time I'll become an alcoholic and I'll be a super egotist, getting $4,000-5,000 a month. So I really didn't want to do all those things. But my older brother advised that at least as an insurance policy, you should clear your chiefs, and even if you don't want to go back to sea. Although I was offered a chief engineer's position by my company, even when I was not as a qualified to be a chief engineer. But I didn't want to go back to sea. But cut short, I applied for my examination in UK, but my party exemption was not approved because my basic degree was not approved by Council of Engineering Institutions. So I was in a dilemma to write a party in India, sorry, in UK, or come back to India and use my party exemption and write my part B. But the way the UK authorities responded to me, a particular surveyor, was very annoying. And I discussed this with my mother, and she, from pre-freedom generation, she was very upset. And she said, I have to show that our education as good as anybody else's, and I must write my party. So I was between the devil and the deep blue sea. I don't want to upset my mother. At the same time, I don't know what's going to happen if I wrote. Cut short, I wrote part A and part B in single sitting, and I passed the exam and set an example. And so that was it. And then immediately I was called back by this company to be chief engineer with no choice to say no. So I became chief engineer, and thereafter they called me to the shore job and posted me as a surveyor and project manager in a shipyard in Japan. And at that time, our company was giving designs to IHI, and we had already built over 400 ships to our design. And we are one of the pioneers for standard design. And if you can get all those details from our website or from Google. I came to India in 2003 because at that point of time, Cochin Shipyard was finding it extremely difficult to get orders, and very dire situation. So I was requested, but at the same time I was very much discouraged because of the situation in Kerala. I am from Cochin, and the shipyard had 8 unions. The unions are very militant unions. So I was told that I will be personally harmed, and I should not try to be in India. Anyway, I gathered all the courage and came to Cochin, and I'm sure that rest is history. The shipyard built 6 ships. They had called me crazy, but at the same time they took the orders, and we delivered the 6 ships in 3 years and 2 months, and you can see the growth. But at that time I had told all the shipbuilding people that unless we have the design capability in the country, we will not progress as a shipbuilding nation. Because no one is going to give you their best design, or you are not going to get competitive designs from our competitors. So ultimately in 2007, I started a ship design company in Cochin, which is called Smart Engineering and Design Solutions. We have about 100 engineers working with us. Since starting the company, we have designed and delivered full package of design from concept to completion, production design, for 20 fast patrol vessels for Indian Coast Guard. It is the best performing fast patrol vessel in Indian Coast Guard. It has maintained the displacement, guaranteed displacement and guaranteed speed. Even after 4 years, it is still operating at 34 knots, though guaranteed at 33 knots. We also designed a 38,000-ton bulk carrier. The entire design package, including production design, was supplied to China, and the ships were ordered from North America, and it has been in service for some time. And then we got into design of 4 passenger vessels for Andaman and Nicobar administration, 2 500 passenger and 2 1,200 passenger. For the 1,200 passenger, the SRTP, Safe Return to Port rule was applied, and in fact it was the first ship to apply that rule in Asia. And so we really had to be the pioneers in SRTP philosophy. Then thereafter we got an order for 8 numbers of anti-submarine warfare shallow water craft, which are corvettes, with stealth features, with also which has ability to detect and destroy submarines in the near shore. The design is going on, and we are working. We also had a dual fuel LNG fossil fuel bulk carrier design approved in 2014 December, to the IGF code 2015. So again, we were pioneers there. Unfortunately, the oil prices dropped to $35 a barrel, and DF vessels were not popular at that time. With an additional $10 million investment on the vessel, it couldn't find business. So we didn't pursue that one. But right now we are researching on future designs. That means ships that will comply for 2030 and 2050 carbon requirements of IMO. So from that point of view, we are researching on alternate fuels like methanol, ammonia, hydrogen, nuclear power. So this is going on as a research project in the company. We have been able to retain most of our people, but because of the very thorough training we give, most competitors use our company as a fishing ground to get the best engineers. So naturally, since it didn't cost them to train them, they can pay a little over. But there are still a lot of loyal, committed, patriotic engineers who knows that building up the capability for the country is more important than your own personal gains. However, looking at me, they know that with that kind of philosophy, I am not a poor man. So that is regarding the shipbuilding industry. Definitely, Indian shipbuilding industry in 2003, when we started to, actually I came to India with a big bang, because I came with a ship owner, Clipper from Denmark, who controlled 300 ships. And our own company has a track record of 600 ships. And so we are both well known in the industry. So when we came together and ordered ship in Cochin shipyard, the whole world got shaken up, because they never ever thought that we will make such a huge mistake of ordering ships in India. But soon after, we received more than 100 orders in India. I also placed 4 ships order in Hindustan shipyard, and 6 ships in Bharati shipyard. The 4 ships in Hindustan shipyard was not managed by me. It was managed by a local Indian ship owner who didn't think the value of project management. And those ships were delivered delayed, but it was delayed. And the 6 ships I ordered in Bharati, unfortunately, could not even be launched, which was a sad thing. So I haven't changed, and my support was never changed, but it's the other party didn't come up to the expectation. And you know that Pipavav ABG also got several bulk carrier orders, but we messed it up completely. We damaged the reputation very badly. As you know, there is not a single commercial ship order in India, domestic or export today. So you can very well understand how bad the image of India. And if we take the global shipbuilding, India's share is less than 1%. Although we have a Vision 2020 and Vision 2030, I suppose you can go to the Ministry of Shipping website and you can get the Vision 2030. It has been prepared by foreign consultants who really don't have a first-hand experience of shipbuilding. They may have experience in ports and shipping and everything, and they have not really given the vision that India requires and India can achieve. The vision is there to reach 10% of the world shipbuilding capacity, but it cannot be just achieved by writing a technical paper. The country must have a vision, a real vision. So a visionary must be there in the government. That is my experience in Japan, Korea, and China. Each of the countries have gone to the top of the world because they had visionaries behind it. There was a gentleman by name Toshiba Doko in Japan. and the founder of Hyundai Shipyard was the visionary in Korea, and Deng Xiaoping was the visionary in China. I was in China in 1993 for 23 years, and we that was the beginning of the modern shipbuilding in China, and I had a huge role to play. I resurrected three bankrupt shipyards at the request of the Chinese government and turned a scrapyard into third biggest shipyard in China. But then I know exactly the government, how they responded, what was the policies, and how we got supported to grow. Unfortunately, though Indian government wants and tries to do it, it has not become really effective. But you can very well see the change that has taken place in Cochin Shipyard when they got a very good start with a shipbuilding program, which gave them the foundation for future projects. However, how a project is managed and how much design plays a role. Unfortunately, in our Indian community, design has no respect and not even considered as a topic. But whereas the design plays is the foundation on which the ships are built. And in Japan, we have a saying that the profits are made on drawing board and not on building berth. But unfortunately, very few people understand the value of it. I have managed to form an Indian Marine Designers Association, bringing together 5 or 6 ship designers. We have started to talk. I mean, we've been talking to the government for the last 2, 3 years, but somewhere or other, I don't think that they have realized the importance of ship design. It's a knowledge-based industry. That industry is not very easy to establish. I came with 8-year legacy experience and data. That is why I can do all these designs. And so that is just buying software, you cannot have a ship design company. So the country, if it wants to get into shipbuilding, they have to really nurture and grow. And in any other country, ship design is respected very well, supported with research and development projects, stipends, apprenticeship, free apprenticeships, and grants and everything, and research. Right now, for the alternate fuel, millions of dollars are being spent by countries with the designers to find out solutions for future. I haven't come across any such support in India. So the future of Indian shipbuilding industry, on paper, it is good, but ground reality, apart from the defense related orders and defense shipyard, the only shipyard that is really functioning is Cochin Shipyard, none else. There is a lot of potential for India, to take orders, export orders. Most foreign clients prefer not to go to China because of the political and legal problems there, but they have no choice but to go. Right now, the order book of all these countries are full. The shipping market is red hot, and almost like 2007-2008 period. This would have been an excellent opportunity for India to take advantage of the good mindset of ship owners making a lot of money and wanting to build ships. But unfortunately, India is not in anybody's consideration, I can tell you that, dealing with a lot of foreign ship owners. Unfortunately, we messed it up. And I don't think there is really any promising indications for foreign ship owners. But we can change all those things if only the government understand what is shipbuilding and what it requires to become a shipbuilding nation, and interacting with people like me who have gone through all these things in various countries and with a solid proven track record. But it is a sad thing that they haven't really reached out to people like me or other people who probably have some, but it's very rare. The kind of background I come is very unique and very much unique in the world, not just for India. So that is what it is. So I'll stop with this one, and then I'll start taking questions from all of you.
The floor is open. I request students and participants pose your questions to our honorable speaker.
Please identify yourself before you ask question. Thank you.
Please switch on your mic and post your questions. Okay, to start with, I will ask to improve upon our shipbuilding capability, what shall be done by the students or the Indian government?
I don't know what the students can do except they can study. But when they study, we must offer them a future. Well, if you study shipbuilding, if you study naval architecture, there is a job waiting for you. The country needs you for the future expansion. What is the use of training people when there is no employment for them in the future? So I think it has to go parallel. The country has to have a solid plan, a time-bound plan to achieve certain targets. And in order to achieve that target, it's a simple basic management principle. You have to do your homework. How I achieved a shipyard which took 3.5 years to build one ship to build 6 ships. It did not happen by accident. It happened with proper planning to find out why they are not able to produce the ship. You know, the shipyard has a beautiful shipyard designed and built by Mitsubishi. So it was state of the art, latest shipyard. All these engineers came to IHI when I was in Japan and were trained in the 5 shipyards of IHI. And IHI has the best ship production process. And they were trained in that. So they had the hardware, they had the software, but they still did not produce. I would request people who are talking to in the background to mute their mic, please. So the thing is, we planned. The shipyard did not have a design, and if we had to get a design, it took them 1.5 years to get it approved. So I supplied them a full package of design, pre-approved, including production design. So they did not have to even waste one day with regard to the design. Then being a PSU, they have to tender for every material, and it took them 1.5 years to procure the material. So I decided to give them a full package of material with a fixed price, so that they don't have to go for tender or anything. They can put the material cost in their calculation for ship's cost to add labor, overheads, and profit, and come up with the price. So, and if the price was agreeable to me, then we could sign a shipbuilding contract. Similarly, while the ship was under construction, it was supervised by the class owner and everybody, who were all king of Siams, who used to control the shipyard for everything and without making any decisions, and it caused tremendous amount of delays and a cop that people forget to deliver the ship on time. So I put an extremely friendly but highly technologically capable team of project managers and surveyors, and together with ABS, who acted as the class, we started supporting the shipyard. So no inspection was delayed, even if it was 4 o'clock in the morning. And we started catching up on every week the production process. So there were 3 components that I provided to Cochin Shipyard, which helped the shipyard to do their part of the job. And the same tools were given to other people, but they were not able to perform as good as Cochin Shipyard, which of course shows the caliber of Cochin Shipyard people. They had all these things, but they were not able to to do their job because they didn't have the support. Similarly, for the workers, we had 8 unions, 4 official unions and 4 unofficial unions. They were misguided by their leaders and the management, and every delay was blamed to them. But I was the only person who did not contribute to that. And in 1992, when I was interviewed by a leading newspaper in Kerala, I told him the problem are not the workers, but the problem is the circumstances and environment they are working in. That is why every shipyard worker going to Dubai or Singapore performs very well, because they have the environment. So the shipyard unions recognized that. I did not blame them, and I understood the problem. So I told him, I am giving you all that opportunities and surroundings and environment. Now I want you to perform. Last 17 years, there is not a single work stoppage. And even on a day of Hartal, there is 85% attendance. And when they worked, they started getting good salaries, overtime and everything. A person who's getting 30,000 rupees in 2003 is getting 2 lakhs today, and they have enough employment. Actually, Cochin Shipyard has got a lot of vacancies that they are not able to fill. So why should they go for strike or anything else, So that's why in a highly unionized place like Kerala, we have most harmonious working environment in Cochin Shipyard. So when you talk about what the Indian government really have to communicate with people like me and say, what do we have to do to take the shipbuilding, not with foreign consultants like Boston Consulting or Erty Kearney or Price Waterhouse or Deloitte, when we have our own Deshi consultants, but they go and do that one, and we can give them exactly a time-bound target and how it can be achieved. And one of the most important starting point is education. We have to educate our young people for the need of the shipyard and shipbuilding when it comes there. But there is no use of training all these people, giving them hope and throwing them on the street to fend for themselves. So it has to go hand in hand. It has to go parallel. The students have to study. The government has to give the opportunity, or the private industry has to give opportunity. But for that, you have to have a conducive environment. I have lived through Japan's growth, Korea's growth, China's growth, and what more you want? It's a first-hand information, first-hand experience, and having built over 400 to 500 ships in Japan, over 200 ships in China, maybe another 50, 60 ships in Korea and things like that. So it comes from solid experience. So there is a way to achieve it, and India can easily achieve it. But unfortunately, the people behind it, I must say, they don't know, and I can understand that one. That is what it is. But India has tremendous opportunity. But I don't want to give false hopes to students and say that, oh, you study hard, you do this one, tomorrow when you graduate, you will get a job. See how many people are going abroad because they cannot find a job. How many people have dropped out of the profession and gone and taken up other areas of engineering or other areas of things. That is the statistics the government has to look. If you are training 100 doctors and no one practices, there has to be a reason. Similarly, if you are training 100 naval architects, but they are not practicing naval architecture, why is that? So, I really, don't want to give any false image to the students. Okay, you are taking a big chance when you get into naval architecture and marine engineering training in India, because we do not have sufficient employment capacity in the country, but it can be easily created, and that is through ship design, shipbuilding, and associated. There is ship finance, ports, shipping, so Indian waterways, coastal shipping. There's hundreds of opportunities that can come up for a graduate in naval architecture or marine engineering or seagoing career. They're the ideally suited people to take up all these positions. So there is definitely a good future, but in order not to disappoint the graduates, the government has to act quickly with policies which are realistic, which is tested and tried, and not written by few foreign consultants. Did I answer your question?
Sir, my submission is some student has posted a question in chat box, in
Let me
message.
see.
Yeah, please. Yes, sir.
I can see.
Yeah,
Now sees a boost in inland shipping due to government policies. Can this be the starting point in the revolution of India's shipbuilding industry?
yes, yes.
The answer is yes and no. The thing is that although, I mean, I'm hearing about inland shipping ever since I came to India 18 years ago. I've attended numerous conferences and meetings where the same thing is repeated. Again, you really do not know the total picture. You know, everybody talks about the cost of ton mile on water is the cheapest, 1/3 of by road or half of what is on railways and everything. That is only a port to port cost, but the associated costs of loading and discharging the ship, the last mile connectivity, the numerous rules and regulations that an inland shipper has to face. These are all dampers that is hampering the progress of inland shipping. You know, first of all, in order to have true inland shipping success, we must have a door-to-door delivery of goods without loading and unloading the same cargo 5 times, which increases the cost so much that it becomes more expensive than sending something on a truck. I understand. I hope you understand. So the only answer for inland shipping is RoRo, roll on, roll off, so that a truck and a trailer drives and loads a ship, and the trailer comes out, and the trailer is left, and the truck comes out, or the engine part, the driving part comes off. And similarly, when it reaches the destination, a truck will come and pick up the trailer and leave it to the door of the receiver. So in order to do that, first of all, we have to have every bridge modified to an opening bridge or a bridge at a higher height, so that we have sufficient air draft to carry a ship loaded or unloaded with at least 9-foot containers and sufficient air draft. So this is essential. Now, there are 38 bridges in Kerala waterway, number 3 or something like that. Last 3 months, I've been trying to get the air draft and beam width of these bridges from Inland Waterways Authority and various authorities, and through many channels. And I've not been able to get it, you know. So how can, as a designer, I design a roll-on roll-off ship without knowing this basic data, basic information? This information should be on their website. So you can see a simple hindrance, you know, in the country. When you say inland shipping, it starts with the design of a ship, you know. So end-to-end solution is the only solution that is possible. And in a state like Kerala, where we have what we call Nokukuli, that means the guy who's sitting and watching has also to be paid. You know, he's not doing anything else because he's just waiting there. And we have to pay 5 times more than putting something on a truck in a warehouse and delivering it to the receiver. So this is the basic fundamental challenge in inland shipping. If people have not understood it and solved it, how do you expect inland shipping to flourish? Similarly, there are problems beyond an operator, a builder, or an investor, that the government has to get involved and solve it for the person, because it's beyond the capacity of a private to change infrastructure. So that has to come. That they have to have close industry government interaction and say that what is your problem, and once they accept the problem, they must have a deadline to solve it. But so while inland shipping on paper looks very nice, you want an honest answer? Unless the government come with realistic policies, implement them, it will be the same story for the next 5 or 10 years. Thank you. Is there any other? There was only one question. I'm sure there must be more questions from you. Yes. Yes, Rajanish.
Sir, as I'm from Kerala, I know something
Can you
that.
share your video so that I know who I'm speaking to? Thank
Good
you.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you, Rajanish.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir. I'm from Kerala, and I
Yes.
know something like Indian government have funded a research institute in Calicut, which was called Nirdesh, I believe.
Yes.
So it's not at all, and there's no update about it. So, as a student, what can I do to help that?
Nirdesh is dead, gone. Okay. Hello.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So there's no more Nirdesh. That's it. So I don't have to really go into all the details. I personally got involved quite a bit while this is being set up. I gave a lot of input and everything, but it did not get the support from various shipyards and various agencies and things like that. So it died a natural death, and they are thinking of disposing of the land. Many people are claiming the land to do this and that and everything, and really nothing is happening. So don't bank on Nirdesh for your future. Did I answer the question, Rajneesh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. No more questions from faculty? Any questions? The student seems to be shy. I was expecting more participation.
Okay, I'll come in.
Yes, sir.
For my part. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can we look back at where we went wrong with our shipyards? Was it the policy like the socialism or the vision what you are talking about? Can we look back at that and do some kind of introspection?
Can I talk to you off the record? Well, let me tell you, my own person. I put 6 ships order in Bharati shipyard, established by 2 IIT naval architects of my age, and I expected a professional service from them. All these shipyards took the orders, but I really did not know whether it was shipbuilding was their motive or something else, because if shipbuilding was their motive, they would have had people employed there, and a simple bulk carrier is not difficult to build. Could have built it. I really do not know. You see people of ABG, Bharati, each one of them have non-performing loans of tens of thousands of crores rupees. And so, first of all, we don't know the intention of all these people, whether it was to build ships or do something else. I don't know. I really don't know, because shipbuilding is not a very difficult thing to do, achieve. I have done shipbuilding in bare startup green shipyards and grew with them. So I think I cannot really say what it is. Then of course we can say that there is shortage of personnel with shipbuilding experience, and which is essential. So having the right staff is very important, and training them is another thing. Really, there is no reason for shipbuilding to fail in India, except that we do not have ancillary industries. We have to purchase all our equipment and material from abroad. So we have a handicap, but the government has been very liberal in giving 30% subsidy to offset all those things. We do have tax laws and requirements which are hindrance. But Cochin Shipyard built all these 6 ships ahead of time, 4 months ahead of time, and got all this 30% subsidy, and they didn't go bankrupt with my project. They flourished. So it's not a rocket science. There is no big unknown tricky question that why Indian shipyards failed. Indian shipyards failed simply because whoever was behind these projects did not know shipbuilding or did not want to do shipbuilding. I don't know really, but there is no reason for a shipyard to fail, provided we get sufficient support from the government, understanding the handicap that we have. We did not have design, we didn't have ancillary materials, and these contribute to 70% of the cost of the ship. Therefore, if that cost goes up, we are not competitive internationally. We have to improve our productivity. And the Cochin Shipyard improved the productivity. That is why they could deliver the last ship 4 months ahead of schedule. And so our people are capable of doing all those type of things. But I really don't think the shipyards failed due to the government. No, it definitely did not fail because we didn't know how to build ships. But the rest is left to you for your imagination, why it failed. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, Rajanish, you have another question? Please unmute.
Yes, sir. Sir, what is the future of shipbuilding in India? There are new companies coming up, like solar ships and solar
Boats.
boats. Yeah, Navgati and Navalt are some of the two companies. So, is there like a future in that?
That's one and the same company, okay? Not two companies. The thing is that this is where the government has to patronize these companies, because Sandhi has spent all the money from his pocket to develop this design, to promote this design and everything. What the government can do is to provide orders for these ships so that it can grow, because we should not see shipbuilding as an individual asset. It is a national asset. It is a strategic requirement. Look at India, what has happened now. Okay, after this COVID, I don't say after the COVID, at least now the economy is picking up. The container ships are in short supply. The bulk carriers are in short supply. With a ship that is getting $10,000 a day is getting $40,000 a day. A container ship of 2000 TEU is chartered for $100,000 a day. Now India want to export, but we have no ships to export, because China has their own ships, so they give preference to their country's cargo. Similarly, all the other countries. So it's the strategic value of shipping is not understood in India. India's seaborne cargo, we only carry 6 or 7% of our cargo on Indian flagships. The rest of the entire cargo is carried by foreign flagships. But whereas countries which has hardly any cargo, like Greece or Norway, is controlling our cargo. Ships, the cargo is carried on their ships. So there has to be an awareness that has to come. These are national, strategically important matters when it comes to situations, especially when it comes to crisis. So today, Indian exporters cannot export. Now the Prime Minister has offered many kinds of incentives and things like that. But at the end of the day, when they produce, they need a ship to carry it. But we don't have it. We don't control it. So we don't get it. And even if we get, the freight rates have gone up 250%. So how can we be competitive to export something when the ship is going to cost? So really, we need to have that kind of thinking, that this is an industry does not belong to me or to Sandhit or Cochin Shipyard. This belongs to the nation. This is a national importance. This is a strategic industry. Now the strategic industry, why is Korea, Japan is still supporting shipbuilding industry? Why Norway is supporting shipbuilding industry when they don't have any shipbuilding? Why? Because they have of strategic value. That is why those countries are doing that one. So our people have to understand and go from petty mind that some small boat builder in Kerala is benefiting. No, this is the solar power, carbon zero. These are all things that every nation has to comply with it. But when you put India in the world map, where are we? We are nowhere in terms of research and development. So this kind of vision, this kind of understanding, enlightenment must be there with people who are administering. That's what I feel. Thank you. Any more questions? Yes, Akshay Praveen. Can I see you? Where are you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, I'm also from Kerala, and my question is, in this being a naval architect student myself, and being interested in shipping and that, and I'm interested in research too. So, according to the current trend, and according to you, what are the new innovative and research fields that are popping out, and that is very much needy, and how could I just make myself industry viable to those sectors and find opportunities in those sectors?
Yeah. What is new in ship design or ship building? Definitely, that there is a target for reaching carbon content by IMO. Have you read it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Green shipbuilding, next 6 size things.
Have you read the latest IMO publications onto the requirements? If you have not read it, please read it. Now every country has to meet this. So there is a lot of research is going on alternate fuels. That is methanol, ammonia, hydrogen, and nuclear power. So research is going on there. The another thing is carbon capture, capturing carbon on board. So a lot of research and development is going on in that area. Then we are talking about environmentally friendly ship. We are talking about underwater noise, the noise that is created by ships that will affect marine growth. So it is an area that is being still developed. Then there are also a number of technologies that have come to reduce fuel, like Flettner rotor. Have you heard about Flettner rotor? Have you heard? Have you heard about aquasail? So see, as a student, you have to read. You have to read, and read and keep up with the industry. Nobody's going to do that for you. You have to do it for yourself. That is how you become different from other people. You have 24 hours. If you start writing a diary, you will find 8 hours of your time has been wasted for doing nothing useful. Okay? If you spend 1 hour a day in your life reading and researching, you will be in a different position altogether. That's what I did. I was an average student. I was not a first class student or top student or anything like that. But I was way ahead of my class, way ahead of my friends, because I read. I researched, I was up to date with the industry. See, so you need to. All these things are available in public domain. In my days, I had to go to the library to read something if it is there. But today, with the internet, you can access any publications. Every day there are free webinars on all these type of things. Do you take any time to attend these things? On new fuels, new technologies. Then you have to think out of the box. You have to come up with something new. Just don't make the same hull and the same superstructure and same thing that your predecessors have done. Think out of the box. See how you can make something new, revolutionarily different. How you can reduce the energy consumption. How you can make it more environmentally friendly. So the future is in your own hands, Akshay. You have to think, you have to read, constantly. Your mind should be inquisitive, and you should not accept the status quo. Don't accept it. Just because the hull is like that, don't accept that hull. See what you can do, original thinking, something different. Don't start improving the thing, but try to give original thinking. So this way you can really understand your future, because everything is available. As I told you, there's a lot of opportunities out there, for you to research and work and everything on a daily basis at a personal level. And when you are stuck with some problem, go meet your professors, sit with them, ask them, sir, I would like to pick your brain, or contact people like me in the industry, whoever it is. Don't be shy. Maybe I will not answer to you. That's the worst thing that can happen. Nothing else. But take that initiative, because you really see the reason I got this position. I am in this position. I said, sir, the ship is designed well, but it can be designed better. And I had the points. So and he took me around the ship and asked me questions. How do you make this ship better? So I told him, I said, these things can be changed and improved. And I got the job that day in this company. Not only I became the president of the company, I own the company. Okay, so you make your future, nobody else. You make your luck, nobody else. But what is luck? Being prepared when opportunity strikes. So don't wait for the opportunity to start doing research. Start doing research by yourself, without the requirement from anybody but yourself. You find underwater noise solution. You find less material used on the ship by your design. You find less energy consuming on the ship by yourself. That is the line of thinking you should have as a young person. Then you can achieve what you want. And you set goals. Don't do anything just open-ended. In 3 months, I'm going to find a solution. I give my staff deadlines every day. I want it in 24 hours. I want in 7 days. I want in 1 month. I want the response from me. All time-bound, goal-based. So what you really need to set goals in your life, and try to read the book Psycho-Cybernetics. Okay? Did I answer? You have any questions further? Akshay.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I am the campus director of Mumbai Port Campus, IMU.
Yes, sir.
I'm a retired naval officer.
Yes, sir.
During my tenure in the Navy, I was also Director General Naval Design for the Submarine Design Group.
It's very nice to know, sir.
Sir, I have a question to ask.
Yes.
What is the future of private shipyards in our country? We have seen, you spoke about Bharti Shipyard. We know of ABG. We know of Reliance. One after the other, everyone is closing down. I think only the big names, L&T is still afloat on the hope of getting the submarine 75 India project order. So, do you think there is something wrong in the management of the Indian shipyards, private shipyards?
100%. See, first and foremost, I am confused. Were the promoters' intention was to be in shipbuilding or something else? Don't quote me. I know you're recording this one, but they are all my friends. What is so much rocket science in shipbuilding? Tell me. What's wrong? Indians are more intelligent than the average person. We manage the whole world. If you take top 10 corporations in the world, the CEOs are Indians. And managing a shipyard or management shipbuilding is not, I don't think, with all respect to shipbuilding, it's not a very difficult task. There is a shipyard called Shaft Shipyard, run by an individual, which is running very well.
Yes, I'm aware of the shaft because after retirement, I was a independent external monitor as Mascot Dock for 3 years.
Yes.
So all the block buildings are with the shaft. So shaft is doing very well. I mean,
Yes.
but probably shaft is the only one.
Because Sahai Raj is the only one who's dedicated to shipbuilding. Simple. I've known him for the last 20 years. And but his limitation is money, funds. How can he take a 50 crore, 100 crore, 200 crore project when he does not have the financial backing for that one? So money is his problem. But he has everything. He's a living example of a well-run shipyard. You know, so shipbuilding has huge future in India. Huge future. First, we generate so much of inbound and outbound cargo. So we have control on the cargo. That means we can have domestic ship owning companies and ship management companies. You know, and we will have to have a national policy. You have to have a certain amount of cargo that should be on Indian flag vessels. Those Indian flag vessels have to be built in India. And all throughout this growth process, there will be subsidies to nurture. You know, somebody will be holding an umbrella. But the moment we have grown, then you can take the umbrella off. We'll become competitive. You have to have a national policy vision, which Japan had, China had, Korea had. Only with that kind of, then they had one visionary. I know I've named you. You know, who are those people? And that vision is what is carried on. We don't have that vision. We don't have that, the strategic importance of this industry. And the whole world will come to India to build ships. They are going to China because they have no choice. They would love to do business with India. But we messed up our reputation, except Cochin Shipyard. Look at the growth of Cochin Shipyard. Look at, you know, a shipyard almost going to be closed down in 2013 to be the darling of the industry. They have taken over 6 shipyards in India to manage. And they have 18,000 crore rupees orders. And they cannot not able to fill the requirement of employees. 1 million deadweight dry dock is going to come, a 3,000 crore investment project, an 80 ship international ship repair center is coming up. So there's a huge potential for India to do shipbuilding. But with, you know, Japan is supporting a modern country, a very advanced country, very high cost country, is still supporting shipbuilding. Because shipbuilding is the father or mother of heavy industries, you know. Like when you say automobile industry is for precision industries growth. You know, shipyard creates demand for steel, for engines, for various equipments, electrical cables, you know, numerous paints, numerous things. So it's a force multiplier. It creates at least 5 jobs for every shipyard job. This is why the Japanese and the Chinese and the Koreans are still after shipbuilding. Who has that vision in India? Who has understood that value? As I mentioned, so shipbuilding is very well within our reach. And if we have proper functioning shipyards, properly supported, because see, the moment shipbuilding, when you say, we are not an Indian, we are a global market. So it has to be a level playing ground. If the Chinese is giving support to their shipyard, or if the if anybody else is giving their support, Korea is giving their support, and we don't get the support, we have the same problem. You see? So, to answer your question, very much possible.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Anybody is interested in asking further questions to our distinguished speaker? If there are no more questions, with the permission of the audience, can I say vote of thanks to the distinguished speaker?
Dr. Muthukrishnan, I would like to say a few words of thanks.
Yes. Yeah, okay, sir. Okay, you please, thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Prince, that I would say that that was really candid, incisive, and also inspiring. We could not get a bigger gathering, but this is not the last time we are going to hear you. There are other plans. We have been talking about it. Unfortunately, our Vice Chancellor and Head of Academics, they could not be here. They are in Delhi. So there are some real serious thoughts on shipbuilding, of having a think tank and taking such ideas forward. And we have been talking about a lot of people, so we'll be definitely coming back to you. But for this forum, I wish to thank you personally also. It was quite refreshing for me. We'll continue this conversation. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'll be available anytime to provide whatever knowledge I have to share with at any point. And feel free to contact if any of the students want a personal advice or something like that. They can approach me, and I'm sure that I'll respond. I'd be only happy to advise them. And thanks again for this opportunity. I very much appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Muthukrishnan, yours, please.
Thank you, sir. First of all, on behalf of academic section, on behalf of head, I thank our distinguished speaker for readily agreeing to our give speech on this maritime knowledge series. Your talk is very inspiring one, sir. You highlighted the importance of shipping and the scope for shipbuilding industry in this country with the cargo on volume of cargo in our favor. We have got great potential. And when something can be done in Cochin shipyard, that can be equally done in the rest of the country. It can be very well replicated. Your thought is inspiration. Thought was very much inspiring for us. We hope you will be available for our students as a star angel. Thank you very much for your time, sir. And thank all the faculty and the students who have participated in that. Thank you once for all.
Thank you, sir, for the kind words. Definitely, we must leverage our cargo to build up our shipping and our shipbuilding, and our country otherwise have blessed with a long coast and inland waterways. So we have everything God given to develop a shipbuilding industry. As you rightly pointed out, if a PSU like Cochin Shipyard with 8 unions in a state of Kerala can flourish, anybody can do it, anything, anywhere else in India. Okay, I'm not putting it as I'm a Keralite, I'm a Malayali, but I must say that and I regret that I had not much interaction with Hindustan Shipyard after that, but at least they survived with my orders and build those ships and build up a basics to start. But ship design is very, very critical for the growth, and that is where you and I play a big part, as academic institutions and industry, and without design, you cannot build ships. And without good design, you cannot build ships. Design is important. And that has made all our projects successful globally, not only in India, and economically viable, economically successful, very popular, and that's all because of the design. And so, we are in the process of imparting that knowledge to the students. And so the academia is the most important, education institution is the most important starting point. Everything starts from there. So we need to prepare the students, the graduates, for the industry. The industry has to take equally responsible to train our students, so that they are assimilated into our industry, and the government and the industry creating the hope and future for our people. Just graduating people is no good, but we must have a job waiting for them to graduate. That's the kind of thing that we older people have the obligation to do. Elder people in the industry has obligation to do, is to create that opportunity for them. But so for this, the industry and the private sector and the academia has to work hand in hand. Together we can solve. Not one party can do this thing. The government plays a huge role to give a helping hand. Once you give the helping hand, you don't need any more hand holding. The industry will go by itself. So yes, government gives subsidy or something like this is a very good thing. But again, the subsidy has to go to academic institutions, design companies like us developing design, training designers and things like that. And so it has to be also, just giving shipyard 30% is not only enough. Also, a very good ancillary equipment industry has to be developed in India. But we have pump makers galore, but not marine pump makers. We have generator makers or motor makers. It is just marinizing the whole thing. Again, academia can play a big role, because these industries can consult the academia to find out exactly how do I marinize my pump, or the classification society. So, this is how the other countries are working and worked. And, my long years, 13 years in Japan, 23 years in China, and in between in Korea and in Europe and many places where I licensed my design, to these companies, they have no difficulty accepting a design from me, but selling my design in India is almost impossible. That's a true fact, because I don't have prior experience. But the country has not built a ship like that. So how can I have prior experience? No foreign country is going to give me how I will do a new generation missile vessel. So when I am disqualified on that basis, whenever I will get an opportunity in the country, we are putting taxpayers' money to build an NGMV or NOPV or something like that. But the basic naval architecture, marine engineering and other knowledge required is the same as some other ship, okay, that we develop. Our Navy, no other Navy is interested to make us the best Navy in the world, to giving us the best design. So these are frustrating moments for people like me, when I see the opportunities are just disappearing right in front of me. And if I don't get that opportunity in my own country, where will I get it? I am a very different person. I am a global player, and I have had enough clients and business abroad. So I really didn't have to come to India for anything. I came to India for giving back to my motherland. All my knowledge and 80 years of legacy experience and data, I brought to the country and gave it, and I trained my people, But then if I don't get orders and I'm disqualified because I don't have prior experience, can you imagine the frustration of my boys and girls? Not me, but them, So the country has to have the right policy, right? When every country is trying to be promoting their own country, we start even giving the design of a barge to Germans, right? Right in Cochin, KMRL is building electric boats. We have enough know-how in our country, but the design and everything is coming from outside, So why are we not reserving these things to our country, to our own firms? And I agree that we don't have 100% experience. But look at, for example, take me personally, look at my track record. Look at the passenger ship I produced, or the fast patrol vessel I produced, or other designs that I have put out. They're all world class, So we really have to, people in Delhi have to really think differently. Simple. Nation first, always first. If you think like that, then we will have enough work for ourselves. We wouldn't be borrowing work, taking a foreign consultant to advise us. We are not giving the entire job to a foreign designer and buying the design and not buying the technology. How will we ever develop in our own country when we don't get opportunities? Once I get opportunities, then we'll. Japan developed their LNG carrier by themselves. Korea developed their LNG carrier by themselves. China developed their LNG carrier by themselves. But when India wanted to develop LNG carrier, they went to borrow it in from Korea. Whereas I can do an LNG carrier design with my contacts and connections and worldwide contacts. But do I get an opportunity? No, because I have no prior experience. None of them had prior experience when Japan, Korea, or China developed their LNG carrier design. So these are fundamental change of thinking that is required in our country if we are to progress. We have enough technical people, we have enough brains, we have brilliant young people who's capable of carrying out rest of the things. My engineers are world class. I expose them to international discussions, and people are amazed with the level of knowledge and intelligence that they have. I had a presentation of my design in Washington to US Coast Guard. That is my dual fuel LNG vessel, because far back in 2014, nobody has designed a vessel like that. But I wanted to make sure that my vessel will be acceptable in US waters if I made the design. At the end of the presentation, the commandant asked me, where was this design made? And I said it was made in India. He jumped from his seat. He couldn't believe, because we were way ahead of anybody else at that point of time. Finally the meeting concluded by his request to give my design as a model for him to develop rules for bunkering of LNG vessels in US coast. I'm not just trying to blow my own trumpet or anything like that.
Thanks. So nice, sir.
That's produced by my own engineers in India, Indian engineers.
Yes.
So we have tremendous capacity, but we really need to have an environment to grow.
Yes.
Thank you,
So
sir.
many things have to be done in this country. Okay, we hope with the time everything will change. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much. We will be in touch with you in some other times, in some other forum. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks for the time.